So this is part two of the weed review of the vending machine weed at Light Rail Studios. It doesn't even say anything. Huh. Wow. Let's see. Huh. That smells good. Once again. So I just got this about 10 minutes ago here at the vending machine at Light Rail Studios, which is one of the perks of being here at Light Rail. It's been really cool being here and creating my own crystal mirror space experience. As you can see, my car is its own kind of experience. Usually I have more lights in here, but I got all my lights up in my studio because I got a crystal mirror space experience client coming. And so let's see if this helps my headache. All right, let's try this. Actually, this is quite nice. So ordinarily I would have a guest here and talk about this, that, and the other, but right now it's just my friend over here and myself. I actually added some more mylar today. That's what this stuff right here is called, mylar, and it's a whole process to adhere it to my car. I won't move the camera, but there's also sparkle and glitter everywhere. So in the sunlight, it creates quite an amazing. It's kind of cold. Let me roll this up. Actually, here, let me smoke a bit more. In the sunlight, it's amazing. So it's always really, for whatever reason, turning all these black and gray colors in my car into a reflective mirror, essentially, for all intents and purposes. It's almost like a therapeutic feeling because it just transforms the space. And even though a car is just considered just an appliance, basically, for getting around, maybe appliance isn't the word, but it's just, most people don't look at it as a canvas, you know, and that's, to me, it really is what it is, because what better canvas than when you're sitting in all, you know, every day, or in my case every day, frequently. It's like I'm bringing my my art with me wherever I go, you know, and that's been quite an interesting, cool experience, because every day that I am out, I meet usually one person on average that stops, you know, notices the car and just is instantly drawn to, you know, comment and say something, and it's always pleasant, you know. And so that's been a whole interesting, like, social experiment. It's pretty fascinating because we live in a society where people don't talk to each other. They specifically avoid each other. Here in San Francisco, that's quite a thing where, you know, it's because I go the extra mile to do this that, you know, I'm able to experience this whole other reality. But most folks, yeah, and I've heard it on different YouTubes. I've watched YouTube channels that have talked about life in San Francisco versus life in other major cities or other areas, you know, not cities or abroad or whatever. San Francisco culture is, you know, pretty much very, how can I put it, just very closed, very scared for the most part. They're afraid. The average person I see, you know, goes out of their way to avoid eye contact, to literally walk around a car, to avoid crossing the street, just to not be near me. It sends a really awkward message. But nevertheless, because I create this whole alternative experience, and sometimes I even wear like actually something like this. This except bigger, and I can see through this, absolutely. I can 100% see through this, no problem at all. But it's almost like, you know, and I wear the thing like that I got, I don't know what the word is in Arabic, but it's what you see the Saudis wear. There's a store by where I live called Semiramis, which is all Middle Eastern imports. Real nice. It's been there since I was a kid. It's far back as I remember, it's always been there. So anyway, I walk down the street like this, and the ironic thing is people actually look at me versus avoid eye contact, because they can't see my eyes. They only look at me if they can't see my eyes, but if they can see my eyes, they look away, and they look all they're just sucked into their own little world. It's really awkward. It's not the San Francisco I grew up in by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's not those times anyway. I've been in San Francisco as far back as I remember. I grew up here. Long before the internet and all that. I was, I lived a good portion of my life previous to the internet. So, it's been quite an interesting transformation to see everything become as it has. So this kind of look as I walk around, it's also an interesting social experiment because I want to do it more. Lately, I just wanted to get some sun, so I was like, well, let me actually get sun right now. But when I have done it, it's similar to my car. I've had conversations with people that, of course, would not have occurred otherwise. Interestingly enough, like I said, I'm gonna do it more and kind of talk about my experience. But in the short time that I have tried this out, where I take my dog to the dog park, and it's so trippy, it's so weird, it's so interesting too. But the two conversations, oh no, I had a few conversations with different people, but the first two were with these elderly people, and it totally brought them joy. It was the most interesting thing. Like, they made conversation, and it was really trippy. It was it was in a good way. Then another elderly person, actually no, these elderly women, they clapped and cheered. It was so cool, and actually I went and spoke with them at length, and they were super friendly, and one even advised me. It was like this. Here, I'll show it. It was like, well, this one's too short. Whatever, I can't do it with this one. But it entailed basically bringing this up like this and just over like here, and then I would tuck it in to the that one piece. So yeah, this is my new steez, and it's it's an interesting experiment. Here, let's just leave it up. I want some air. I don't want to smoke. Yeah, society is going all kinds of wild right now, and I feel fortunate that I have my artwork and my music more than ever, to keep me grounded and whatnot. But I really feel for those who don't have didn't create their own world as I did, because I'm fine and I'm protected in my universe. It's a big mirror. This is my mirror cloak. You know what I mean? And it essentially reflects any vibe that comes my way, bounces back, and I think that when people feel that, I mean, I don't know, I don't have much data on what they're thinking, but I can tell just from, every day I walk like maybe like 5-6 blocks to a park with my, to walk my dog, and it's all residential neighborhood throughout, and it's all affluent. The demographic in that neighborhood has now become, in the last 20 years, an affluent neighborhood, probably like one of the most affluent residential areas in San Francisco, thus the US. So the attitudes are what you generally expect from an affluent environment. And so when I walk to the park, I don't really look the part, of the area, but since I figure I'm outside, I'm not at Walmart, so I don't wear a mask just to walk outside, to walk in the air, but virtually everyone else does. And so when I do wear something, I wear this my mirror cloak, and it's just, the one thing is, after a while, even that is like annoying, and it visually it's fine, but I just don't like to breathe in. It just still feels like, it's like, oh, I kind of prefer just unhindered air. And with a mask hugging your face all day, I couldn't even imagine doing that. It seems really demented for those who do it voluntarily, and unhealthy for those who are forced to do it. I know in my own intuitive, understanding that there's no possible way that's not having adverse health effects on people to constantly do that. When they're forced to do it for 8 hours in a row, that seems inhumane. It seems completely like some kind of torture. And some kind of psychological shackling, psychically disempowering. You know, I think I don't just take it for granted that like pointing a device to people's forehead, basically, what is it, like a temperature gun? Even like that's, I don't, I'm good. That's just, I'm not, to me, that's just not like, oh yeah, that's just life. Nah, that's not for me. But whatever, teach their own, you know. But yeah, anyway, this social experiment has been quite interesting, and in a way, I figure why not? If I'm gonna be here, I'm not just gonna be another, just another brick in the wall, right? Maybe I should do that song next. I actually did it a long time ago. I have to learn the solo. It's always a job with these Pink Floyd songs. Uh, um, it's like you can't really do them without doing the solo. So I can learn the chords and learn the synths, all that, and the do the whole thing. But then and I love doing it, but it entails like I did that for Time by Pink Floyd. And so, but once I know it, I know it. But it's it takes a long time. But yeah, no, I'll definitely do that one. But anyway, so yeah, that's about it. Got to go get ready for this client. I've been performing for people since I have well, at my studio. I call it the Crystal Mirror Space. Through Airbnb experiences, I get clients where I perform for people. People come to experience a concert, and in light of the fact that there's no more concerts, venues of any type, like, I'm actually quite busy these days, which is wild. I'm so grateful that despite for other musicians that being completely taken away from them, luckily I created this space, years ago, and and luckily Airbnb gets me clientele, come for a 2-hour experience, and that's been, it's a profound experience. I put everything into it, and it feels so amazing. For every client I do a different set. I do a whole custom set, which is all the way wild too. They send me music, they send me poetry, and I, yeah, it's magical. It always hits me like a bolt of lightning. When I first hit that first song on their set, they're all the way paying me like, I don't know, whatever. Just they're pay. I set my own prices, and I recently even raised my prices because I figured I was literally, some clients I put in a good 10 hours because they were like, yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll learn some Beatles. I learned like 2 Beatles song and a Red Hot Chili Pepper song. It was a harrowing experience as far as how many hours that took in a row. For probably like, I don't know. I lost count. It'd be like just hours on hours because there was literally no way to memorize it all and be able and have it down. For other clients, if they didn't give me time, if they just literally, I made it now so they can book 3 hours before, which was wild. So at any given time, I could get the bat signal. Like in 3 hours, you have to go perform. But I've done it, and that's been kind of cool. Um, but even for that, I have to be on my toes, and uh, it's I usually I'm trying to space it out and maybe be more disciplined about just playing more often so that I don't have to do it all in a row at down to the wire. Because I pretty much hurt myself when I do that. But it's like, nevertheless, I get something magical out of it. You know. But anyway, right now I'm just procrastinating because I got to go practice for my next client, which is this Saturday. It's this woman who she's been so cool, and she's been sending me dozens and dozens of songs that she likes, poems, and her voice. And I finally got a really good set figured out with like, she likes like Justin Bieber and all this and that. But I was able to find some cuts and some The Weeknd, and all these Shawn Mendes, all these new artists, very sugary stuff. I was like, oh my god, this is about to be so hard, but it's actually super beautiful. She's been hitting me up constantly about it. It's been really cool. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed my transmissions from the Crystal Mirror spaceship. Peace.